I'd like to anoint my reading with a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks. When You Have Forgotten Sunday, a love story. And when you have forgotten the bright bedclothes on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and most especially when you have forgotten Sunday, when you have forgotten Sunday halves in bed, or me sitting on the front room radiator in the limping afternoon looking off down the long street to nowhere, hugged by my plain old wrapper of no expectation and nothing I have to do, and I'm happy. Why? And if Sunday never had to come. When you have forgotten that, I say, and how you swore if somebody beeped the bell, and how my heart played hopscotch when the telephone rang, and how we finally went in for Sunday dinner, that is to say, went across the front room floor to the ink-spotted table in the southwest corner to Sunday dinner, which was always chicken and noodles, or chicken and rice, salad and rye bread and tea and chocolate chip cookies. I say, when you have forgotten that, when you have forgotten my little presentiment that the war would be over before they got to you, and how we finally whipped out the light and flowed into bed and lay loose-limbed for a moment in the weekend bright bedclothes, then gently folded into each other. When you have, I say, forgotten all that, then you may tell, then I may believe, you have forgotten me well. Gwendolyn Brooks. Women like Gwendolyn Brooks and who we call Mama Lucille have given me a lot of courage. I remember when I first started reading Mama Lucille's poems, and I was so struck by how she addressed her female body. Her poem to her last period starts out, "Well, girl, goodbye." Her first line in Wishes for Sons is, "I wish them cramps." She called her uterus her black bag of desire. And I thought, oh, that's what's going on down there. So in the spirit of that, ode to twins. At nights, as I sleep deep inside the crook of an arm, my breasts, they rise against gravity's arrogance, slip on their favorite black bra and Saturday night shoes, and heel-toe heel these cheeks of a lost brown moon. Never do they tell me where they go or what they do. They probably go see films in their rotund language, then meet friends in drowsy bars to scoff at ironing boards, drink sundry elixirs, and watch asses galumph by. Free from their stilts, lanky-legged strides, I can see my girls now. Sassy nipples winking, rising, softening, rebellions, blatant lakes, blue sands of Cuba. In my sleep, as I turn over onto the strange nocturnal flatness, even in my dreams, I long for them the way the wind-beaten horse longs for the valley's green solace, my twins of sawdust and lemon jizz, electric globes of congealed thought. When the sky finally dehulls itself of night, and I wake to cup the 2 scoops of freckled God in my inadequate palms, they feel new each time, and this is my prayer. Thank you. I once performed that poem in South Africa. That must have been 2007. And the reactions to that piece were of interest to me. One man told me that if I had done that poem 20 years ago in South Africa, I would have been burned. And I'm not sure if that's true. And a few days later, a sister of mine out there picked me up and took me to the township of Guguletu, where we went to go have some fun. And all night she was grabbing her, she had been to the performance, and all night she was saying, my twins, my twins. And I asked her later in the night, what was that about? And she told me that as a woman living in the township of Guguletu, she had to protect her family, and she's had to essentially be a man. And she'd forgotten that she was a woman. And that, my assertion of my femininity on stage sort of was edifying for her. And I love when life reminds you that you really don't know what you're doing when you're doing it. And I was so overcome when she shared this with me. And all I could really say to her was, thank Lucille Clifton. This next piece is brief. Sometimes when I feel so overcome by everything that's happening in the world outside of many of my poems, sometimes I feel like I have very little to say because I feel so overcome with it all. But there are many poems that I have that I'm happy to say that I've been saying them for years, but this one I'm not happy to say that I've been saying for years. It's called Illusion. 4 baby birds in the high nest of a cherry tree, so safe. 4 little girls in a church. This next piece is, yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. You don't, that's it. This next piece was inspired by this killer whale that killed its trainer down in Florida. Did you hear about it? Yeah. Well, I started doing some research because I was like, okay, I have to get to the bottom of this. Started doing some research on these majestic creatures, and I came across the story of the first orca that was domesticated by the name of Mamu. They found Mamu off the coast of Seattle, and at that point, they're sort of ominous looking, right? So they thought that these creatures were violent, but they caught Mamu off the coast of Seattle, and they had Mamu in a net that they were towing in the water back to this aquarium, and about 40 orcas tried to save Mamu from that net unsuccessfully, and Mamu had the generous of spirit enough to allow herself to be domesticated, and that pretty much started the whole trade. And so I started writing this piece, and I realized that I was writing it from the perspective of the enslaved African Kunta Kinte. So this is an ode to a killer whale. Tillicum, with a name and a plight like that, you might as well claim African. Never mind your mama squeezed you into the black waters of Iceland where you learned to hunt from top rung, spanning a cool 100 miles on a day's breath with enough time to frolic in the sunlight, shining down on the deep sea diver's soul delight. Some white boy locker. Brother, had I known they were coming for you next, I would have sent a conga cry straight through your orca heart to up-jump the boogie before lasso logic and nigger nets. Alas, 'tis the same passage that borne we to this troubled land, and the same devil captivated us both into ticking time bombs, swimming circles inside their squares. Oh, how they love you to their greatest capacity, which is to say, shutting you up in a bathtub, training your charm into dollars you make rain for them, while they flip you over and milk your sperm from the cash cow you is, quelling all rebellions with rubs and rewards, only for your seeds to grow apart from you. Alas, they captured you but couldn't contain the joy of your rage. Alas, you signify half the name they gave you, killer, 'cause bruh, you ain't no whale, but a more menacing dolphin. Mamu, Shamu, Sambo of sea. I mean to say, and Nat means to say, we spoke the other day, and Sister Harriet too. Boy, you got some dead folk praying for you. Done seduced your captors with your kind nets. May your rage accomplish the rest, seep to that tooth of silence in us each no rain can touch. May you do all that we tried in our ways to do, which is to say, like a bullet that burns with the president's name, boy, save your masterpiece for the stage. I mean to say, killer whale, grip this ship by its sail and drag the whole thing down, 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 down. Thank you. So I'm going to end with another piece that this poem really means a lot to me. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, and I came here to the U.S. when I was 8 years old, and so that's like the kind of year. There's this. I always think of this cutoff when you sort of start to lose your accent, and I could meet Trinidadians and say, "Oh, you moved here around 14, huh?" Or maybe 19, because you could kind of get a sense of the gradations. But reading Zora Neale Hurston is actually what gave me the permission to start tapping into Trinidadian English in my work. And so this piece, this one goes out to Kwame Dawes, who has really championed this piece in the past. And it's called West Indian Woman Speaks from the Dead. You approve? Yes. It's 5 years now I dead. And my husband does still go to the old year's fete with them good looks that beat all cockfights. Standing with his old-time partners, stink-mouth men full of old talk. He sip, he punch a creme while they talk like they eat parrot bottom. Smelling a sweet soap and bay rum, veins full of barbadine and beet pan. My husband so shorter, you could drink soup on his head. And he could win any limbo contest in Port of Spain with a back straight as bamboo shoot. But I see Margs Carmichael in the corner over so. Given he plenty sweet eye, still thinking he gon' want she with that breath like stinking too. And the rest of the widows circling he like the blades of a windmill, wagging their bumsies like force-wiped schoolgirls as he shuffle his foot to old-time calypso, sway hips to parang and close the eye to all my favorite tunes. But watch he now. He must be still love me too bad. Everybody think he forget me, eh? Cause he's never visit my grave, but does come to every lime. Hair slick back like a Douglas and shoes well shine. Let the cock-bottom widows think he's come to watch them wind their waist and dance like oil in a hot pan. Cause my husband damn well know I ain't never miss a good fete a day in my life, and something as stupid as death will not change that. Just a few ticks to the new year. And I know he waiting for me to come and dance with he like in the old days. On like boiled corn. He stand up so in the middle of the fete with the eye closed. Crooning down the place in the whiny falsetto. I drift over so. Stand up tall in front of he like cobweb broom. He open the eye. Look through me. Oxygen breasts. Hydrogen hips. He hold he wedding hand up in the sky, and I take it, and he drag the other arm across this dreaming continent, my back where it should be, and we dance just so into another new year. Thank you.